Hey guys, this is your boy Marcus, and today, Data Pack 2 came out yesterday, and there also a new patch came out for PS3, I think it was patch 1.02, and for the Xbox it was 1.04, and today is basically just the impressions, technically offline impressions, because I've not played online yet. My online's still a little bit messed up, just in terms of my actual online connection being terrible. So, with that being said, let's get into the pros and cons, of course, of the impressions. Basically, pros. The gameplay is quicker. You can even see this from the video. It looks quicker. It just is generally quicker. Players are slightly more agile compared to what they used to be. And I'm just going to say this now. Superstar difficulty. Jesus Christ. They really upped the difficulty. I don't know how they've done it. They've made it basically so that they do a lot more pressing and stuff like that. And it just makes the game a lot more enjoyable to play. Instead of me just playing the same sort of stuff and getting away with it. They sort of adapt to how you play. It's a bit weird, but it's probably not really true, but it seems like they adapted the way you play, and they also mark your better players. So for example, in this match between Scotland and Italy, Scotland don't really have really good players, but Stephen Fletcher was heavily marked the majority of the game by De Rossi because he kept coming back to play deep, and De Rossi kept actually coming back to stop him. So it's a bit interesting. The responsiveness issues, which people have basically been saying, oh, it's all so crap. When you're attacking, when you're actually on the ball, basically the issues are more or less gone. Yeah, the players still feel a bit tank-like, a bit weighty, as majority of people have already said. But the fact that the actual passing and the way you want to do your thing, like the skill moves have slightly improved as well. So it doesn't take as long for them to actually execute them, which is basically good. Like, it, of course, it all depends on the player stats as well. So basically, this game's a lot more stat-like based than the other ones were. So, for example, you're not going to have the likes of James Morrison and Barry Bannon doing roulette flicks and doing them quickly compared to the likes of like Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Like, don't expect like Mulgrew to be able to do like hundreds of step overs in the space of 5 seconds just because of the fact that you could do it with other players. So that's basically quite interesting. But yeah, the responsiveness issues are basically gone. Defending still a bit weird, really, but basically stay on the pros because pros basically make it a bit easier for me anyway. But next one, face updates. They've really updated loads of the faces. Like, some of the faces are a bit still messed up because of the option file creators doing a little bit of problems, but I'll talk about that later on in the video. But face updates, like the Scotland squad, for example, had no real faces. Like, generally they had, I think it was one real face, and I think that was Morrison, I think, and that's me being like quite ridiculous, because Morrison, but basically the whole Scotland squad really shouldn't have real faces. They're not that good in terms of actual like, generally just they're like rank whatever in the world, like ridiculously low number or high number, because ranking, but you know what I mean. But yeah, the whole Scotland squad except for Webster at the back doesn't have a real face, and I think Rhodes doesn't have one either, and neither does Chris Burke. But I mean, they're not even in the actual game technically, because well, let's see, Chris Burke is from the Birmingham, and Rhodes is also from Blackburn, and what's his name? Well, that's where I last saw him. And Webster's from the SPL, or the Scottish Premiership, I believe he plays for Hearts. So even like technically they shouldn't actually be in the game, hence why they don't actually have real faces. I think that's why they don't have real faces. Even Barry Bannon has a real face. It's like, what the hell is that happening? But yeah, basically the game feels generally smoother. The face updates just make it look so much better. Like in the cutscenes and stuff, like it's like, wow, this actually looks like realistically good enough for me compared to what it used to be, where everyone had the same default face. And basically, I'm not played online yet, like I said, but people have said that the game is generally a lot smoother online than it was before the patch. So I'll basically agree with that probably. And with that, I'll check MLO out. Well, probably over the weekend, maybe. Well, let's see. Today's Sunday when I'm recording this video. Probably come out today. So I'll do it over the next couple of days, and I'll have a video out on Wednesday, and it will do some MLO, and I'll see how it's like, and if it's good, then I'll go back to doing Marcus Mafia in general. But Stephen Fletcher here in goal, Stephen Fletcher scores. And even from that, you can see that the shooting is now, basically the way I wrote is that shooting now has more oomph. Like, basically the quicker shots, or the shots are a lot more stronger for very low shots, stuff like that. Yeah, some people might not be able to execute the shots, but I mean, look, if you go to my shooting tutorial, I've actually got a shooting tutorial. It's called How to Shoot, and it sort of shows off how to, like, it's down to your player position. It's not just down to, like, you can't just shoot from wherever you want and it'll go in. You literally have to be paying attention to what your players look like and how they're aiming up for the shot. So yeah, it's a bit interesting, really. But basically, there's more shots later in the video, which I'll be able to, probably won't have, I'll probably just have music over it, because I won't be able to talk for like half an hour or however long this video is going to be. But the goalkeepers have improved. That's a big bloody great thing. but they still take they don't all take ages to respond. But David Marshall, an example, takes absolutely ages to respond to a shot, which actually takes a huge deflection. I think it's off off Grant Hanley, and my God, you'll see Italy's third goal, and it's just, what is going on? What is going on? Like, really, just, Candreva scores. He basically runs into the back of the net, basically just take the piss out of me, and literally I was a bit annoyed with it, but I mean, the goalkeepers in general have improved, so I'll take that. I mean, I've seen a video of De Gea getting up and like saving shots, which when he's saved another shot and he's on the floor, he gets up and saves another shot, and he like keeps doing all these like quick saves in succession, and it looks good. So some of the keepers have improved, not all of them, but of course David Marshall's only rated like 82, so I'm not expecting him to be somehow like amazing goalkeeper in terms of that. So with that being said, they still don't concede goals from long range. Like, he could still score from long range every once in a while, but majority of the time it really doesn't happen. It's usually a lot harder to score. Like I was saying, Superstar's a lot more difficult, and the cursor in the game plan, thank the Lord, the cursor in the game plan has finally improved. The quickness is a lot quicker. It's not as slow as it used to be. It's not as jerky. It's a lot more, like, it's a bit weird really. When you're on the actual green bit, so you're on the pitch and you're selecting your players, it's a little bit slower, like, than you'd think. That's slower than PES 2013, and then when you move towards your substitution, it gets really quick. It's really weird, but you get used to it after like about 3 or 4 games. I played about 4 or 5 games before I actually did this impressions. It is first impressions, of course, so for all I know, it could highly change later on. So basically, the cursor and game plans improved slightly, and like I was saying, on higher difficulty, the computer is more clinical in finishing, and it makes the game a bit more rewarding when you actually win games and score goals and stuff like that. So it's pretty good, really. That's basically like the best way to sort of describe it. But the cons, okay, now the cons, some people are saying that some of the faces are messed up, and a lot of people are like, what have they done to Rooney's face, and what have they done to, for example, what have they done to Dembaba's face and things like that. It's not down to the actual game, it's down to actually the option file because the option file creators will have changed something. So for example, Rooney's hair. If they change Rooney's hair or they change Aaron Ramsey's hair, it changes everything. So it all goes back to like a default face for whatever ridiculous reason that they have done. And for me, the whole Chelsea squad had the exact same default face, and it was pretty disturbing, really. But here I show off a little bit of the faces. Like, Webbs doesn't have a real face, as expected. Doesn't look anything like that in real life anyway. But Grant Hanley, real face. Whitaker, real face. Charlie Mulgrew, real face. Barry Bannon, real face. A bit weird on the hair. Might have to change that. James Morrison, real face. Snodgrass, real face without the beard. Commons, real face. And Stephen Fletcher, real face. So, and Maloney, of course, but no one cares about Maloney. But yeah, basically, like, some of the faces are a bit messed up, and basically everything which has ever been done in an option file. So this is quite a basic option file, though. There are a lot more updated ones, but this one, for example, it had not much done in terms of editing of the actual gameplay management. But, like, for example, the PES Universe option file, which is going to be used for the next like 4 to 6, 8 months. Well, basically, it has gameplay adjustments, so like you have certain teams playing the way they should play and all that sort of stuff, and they've all been deleted, and it's all been back to default. So basically, people who have basically spent hours upon hours upon hours like doing work are gonna be a bit pissed off that they're gonna have to redo all that work twice this year, because of course there'll be a second data pack after the January transfer window, which will probably come out in like May or something, because that's how Konami work. But with that being said, it doesn't really disturb me because I don't really care for those changes anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's problematic, but I mean, yeah, R2 shots, like that Snodgrass shot there, for example, are still a bit messed up. Really, that's really about it. But I mean, R2 shots like are already difficult enough to score finesse shots, and like I play football in real life. Not that much, but I do play it every once in a while, and it is really difficult to score a finesse shot. Have you actually tried? It's like you actually have to like put a lot of oomph into your shot. You have to like hit it properly. So it's a bit more not realistic, but I mean, like, I've seen the FIFA 14 next gen stuff, and a lot of the finesse shots look a bit overpowered. Like not overpowered, but a little bit powered, like more than they should be. But yeah, and some players take ridiculously large touches. You see that a lot in this video, like a lot. What's his name? Snodgrass's goal from when James Morrison took that heavy touch, and he didn't decide to shoot, because actually, if you actually see a replay, if you actually go back and watch it, you will see that James Morrison actually gets his foot hit into by Pirlo. Pirlo actually kicks him, and that's what puts him off balance before he takes his shot, and then Chiellini comes flying out to expect where the ball's gonna go, but doesn't go there because it of course has been taken off of Morrison's foot. So it's a little bit interesting. But I mean, for example, my only goal, which is Italy's first goal, is a Charlie Mulgrew massive touch for whatever ridiculous reason. I'm not sure why they do it, but I generally don't know why. But yeah, and the game's a lot more difficult. Like some people, like for me that's a good thing, but for some people they might be like, well, that's a bad thing. So yeah, basically I'm just gonna skip through the rest of this gameplay and I'll get the goals out and all that sort of stuff. And basically you can watch them if you want. If you don't want to watch them, then no problem. But basically, if you want me to do any face updates, so show off the faces and stuff like that, then comment below teams and I'll check the teams out and I'll do a face comparison. And yeah, so if you have enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for more, and catch you later.